Joan of Arc is a strength-based support class hero from the Dimensional faction who specializes in buffing and healing her teammates, and in today's video we're going to take a look at her skills and abilities, her teams and uses, and whether or not it's worth investing in this hero, so let's get into it. Her ultimate ability is Stand Firm. For this one, there's a passive portion which grants her a permanent 30% damage mitigation and also immunity to knockbacks. The damage which she mitigates from this passive effect is converted into a protection value for her. When she actively uses this ability, she will clear most debuffs from her allies and also restore their health equal to 100% of the total accumulated protection value that she has. On top of that, all allies except herself will gain an attack buff. However, the protection value will be reset each time she casts her ultimate ability. Next up, we have Waving Standard. For this one, Joan of Arc is going to wave her battle standard at the start of battle, dealing damage and summoning 2 phantom standards that are going to mimic her position horizontally across the battlefield. She will then proceed to charge towards the enemy's back row. Any enemy that gets in her way, she will deal damage to and knock into the air. On top of this, whenever Joan of Arc launches an attack, she will heal all allies that are behind her phantom standards on the battlefield. And once she has carried her standard all the way to the enemy's back row, the phantom standards will stay there permanently. And then we have Standard Shield. For this one, she's going to swing her battle standard and provide a shield to all allies behind her battle standard for 5 seconds. She's also going to deal damage to enemies within a certain range in front of her 3 times. And then we have her passive ability, Standard Barrier. For this one, enemies behind her battle standard will be dealt damage once every 3 seconds. And after being dealt damage 3 times, the next hit will additionally stun them for 1.5 seconds, and they will also receive additional damage based on her protection value. Her signature item skill is Standard Protection. For this one, when she does place her standard at the enemy's back row, it's going to provide up to 16% damage mitigation for all of her allies behind those standards. Now on top of that, at level 20, for the first 3 seconds of battle, Joan of Arc is going to be immune to all damage and also convert that damage which she would have taken into her protection value instead. And finally, we have her furniture ability, Graceful Blessing. At level 3, when Joan of Arc reaches the enemy's back line, she is able to cast her ultimate instantly without consuming any energy. And then at level 9, when she does cast her ultimate ability, the protection value will no longer be reset. However, it will be reduced to 50% of the value when she used her ultimate ability. Joan of Arc is a very versatile support hero and can be used in a wide range of teams. Her ability to heal allies, also give them attack buffs, shields, damage mitigation along with the knockback she provides, and stuns for her enemy, means she can be thrown into just about any of the top tier teams in campaign and work really well. These teams include formations like Lucretia, Ulna with Grizzle, Mahira control teams, but in today's video we're going to take a look at her operating in a 5-pool team. This team will consist of Leica, Skriath, Joan of Arc, Iron, and Queen. Leica is in this team to give the haste buff at the start of battle. Getting things happening early in this team is important, and Leica fills that role really well. She's in the front row because it doesn't matter if she does die very early in the battle. Her main purpose is to give that haste buff at the start. Then we have Skriath. Skriath's purpose is to use his 3 furniture to group the enemies together so that Iron can pull them in. Next up, we have Joan of Arc. Now, she works really well in this team because being in the back row up the top, she's able to run directly to the enemy's back row without interference due to the Skriath pushing enemies in. This means she's able to get the attack buff for her allies sooner due to the fact that she'll reach the end and use her ultimate instantly. On top of that, she's also going to be providing them with shields and damage mitigation to boot, allowing them to deal the damage that they need to deal. Then we have Iron. As stated, his purpose is to pull all the enemies in after they have been grouped up by Skriath, but also deal a decent amount of damage. And finally, we have Queen. Queen is in the team because she does provide a lot of good control with her stuns from crits. And so when this team works, it's going to work fairly fast. Enemies are going to get grouped up by Skriath, pulled in by Iron, and then the damage is going to be dealt and the battle is going to be over. As for artifacts on Joan of Arc, Jura's Call is incredibly strong and worthwhile using. However, However, if you already have other members on the team that want to use Jura's Call, you can always get away with something like the Oceanic Strings. So with all that out of the way, how far do you want to invest into Joan of Arc? For her signature item, 20 is recommended. This gives herself the immunity to damage at the start of battle, and all that you're losing out on by not going to level 30 is 4% damage mitigation for her allies. She is still providing them with a 12% mitigation instead of 16. Next up is her furniture. Level 3 is almost required. The effect of her using a free ultimate when she reaches the enemy's back row is very valuable, and at a 3 investment, it doesn't cost too much. As for her 9 furniture, this one is really effective as well, because when she reaches the end of the battlefield, she's going to use an ult instantly, and if that resets her protection value, it means the next ult, which is normally going to come really close to it, won't be as impactful. So getting her to 9 is also nice, but the safe spot is going to be 3 if you have other units that you want to focus on their furniture. And finally, for her engravings, it's a very similar situation to her furniture. Level 30 engraving is great, giving allies additional attack and defense buffs, which is really going to help your team. As for level 60, also a very nice buff, providing more consistent stuns on the enemy team. However, depending on what you're using her with, you may have a heavy control team that doesn't require those extra stuns. And with such a high investment to get to 60 engraving, 30 is really the safe point to leave her. So that is going to be it for Joan of Arc, an incredibly versatile support hero who can find uses in just about any team that you want to build. Thanks for watching, hope you have an awesome day, and we'll look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.